Live here tonight from the new and revamped Texas Motor Speedway. It is the FEG Grand National Series. I'm Matt Egan, joined by Jacob Young. How you doing tonight? And I'm having a problem not being able to see any of qualifying. I don't know about you, Jacob.
I'm able to see some qualifying for sure. I'm looking at Joey Woods now, Brian Day as well, but I'm doing pretty great in my home state of Texas. Can't wait to get some action going from the new revamped Texas Motor Speedway, at least revamped for us on the iRacing server, especially after a day of racing that we've already had. Can't wait for some more.
Yeah, I'm having a very odd issue. It says elapsed time 0.1 second. Yeah, excuse me. You know, I've had this problem occur before, but at the moment, it appears that we're not able to watch any of qualifying. So, well, Jacob, I guess kind of try and talk us through it as we await to see what happens.
All right, let's see who we can get here. I'll talk you through Adam Gillen's lap as he's going to go out for his out lap now before he takes a quick little lap around. But at the moment, you have Mike Kelly with a 30.343 on pole at the moment, with Brian Day in second place, 30.441. And then in third, Bob Gillenwater with a 30.532 in third place. And everybody's just starting to get their laps in. We got 8 drivers that have already set a lap. The slowest time so far would be from none other than, I believe, Jeff. Oh, take that back. Jason Ryan, the 31.183. His lap times are just coming right in. And I said 31.183. Actually, right after that, none other than Brian Macklin took a 31.430. So this field is going to be pretty tight, especially the top half of the field, as there looks like they've been running some smooth qualifying laps for sure.
Yeah.
I don't believe that Adam Gillen has been able to set a lap just yet.
And right now, you know, like I said, I'd comment on it if I could see it. Unfortunately, though, we're having a bit of an issue. We're having a bit of an issue with YouTube, it seems, as well, as YouTube doesn't seem to really want to be working right now either, which is a little bit displeasing. But what can you do at the moment as we get ready to go racing here? Well, what do you expect from the race here tonight?
Well, drivers trying to manage their cars. It is going to be a little loose around Texas Motor Speedway with, of course, the Xfinity package, not a lot of downforce. And we could see maybe some drivers losing it on their own or trying to figure out the car at the start of the runs and things like that. And, of course, the one big key is going to be, well, saving your tires. Talked about it all season long, but it is such a true key at these mile-and-a-half racetracks that even with a newly revamped and paved surface, yes, of course, it won't be as bad on your tires, but still, if you go into the middle lane, you can hear the car screeching with those tires, so you really don't want to push it as hard as can be.
Yeah, that is for sure. It'll be interesting to see how these drivers react to running on the new Texas Motor Speedway as we get ready here. How much time is left in the session?
Time left in the session, it looks like about a minute to go here, but basically almost all the field has already taken their laps. All the way up to 28th position is who has taken a lap for qualifying, so maybe not the full field will take laps at qualifying or try and better their times for sure, because, well, it's very difficult to do that, especially with one lap basically remaining for everybody. And if they haven't taken their lap yet, well, then they really can't.
Yeah, hopefully when the session advances, it will allow us to see what's actually happening outside of this frozen screen. If not, we'll have to exit iRacing and reboot it, and I guess that'll be that. But I'm hoping that isn't going to be the case. I've had this glitch before in which that it does actually allow us to get back into the session. But just keep us posted on when they move into the next one.
Well, they are moving into the race right now.
Are they gridding up yet, or?
Here, seen and view. Yes, everybody is gridding up on pit lane, and so it looks like that's going to be the new starting for basically every new racetrack that we go to. We'll have cars line up sideways in pit lane.
Oh, good. So that means my iRacing has officially just done itself in for some reason. So yeah, that is an issue. Yeah, it appears iRacing has just had it. So on that note, we'll be right back. Jacob Young will talk us through the start as every driver gets ready to grid up, and we'll try and figure out just what happened to go wrong there. I'm not exactly sure what might have happened at the moment, but anyway, take us through it.
All right, well, let's run through, I guess, your starting grid real quick. We have David Comstock on pole. Daniel Falkingham will be right beside him. And then you have Justin Fuller in third place with Brian Macklin in fourth. Josh Parker fifth with Tommy Ryan in sixth. Ryan Howard in seventh. Brian Day eighth. And Mike Kelly in ninth position. Rounding out your top 10 will be Jimmy Coleman. Then Jason Lance for 11th position. And Adam Gilliland in 12th with Doy Woods in 13th. Jim Ott 14th. Steve Ritter in 15th position. Then we have Thomas Connetti, Chad Coleman, Anthony Calantoni, and Scott Formosa in 19th position. Then Bob Gillenwater rounds out your top 20. Jeff Vogel 21st, EJ O'Rourke 22nd, and Mike Montesi in 23rd position. Then Dwayne Vincent 24th, with Dwight Beverly in 25th and Scott Simley in 26th position. Then Jeff Ryan, 27th, Mark Cretan, 28th, and Pedro Mojica in 20. Well, actually, I take that back. I almost skipped a person, Jason Earson in 29th, and Pedro Mojica in 30th position, elected not to qualify a lap. Chad Cole, 31st, 32nd, Richard Beasley, 33rd, Clint Cox, then Chad Schilling in 34th, 35th, Milt Matisse, and Gregory Brandenburg in 36th, with Chris Stamper in 37th position. 38th is Steve Herring, 39th, Gail Brooks, and 40th, Doug Sigmund. Then John Wilco, Bill Schoonover, and Don Runkle Jr. to round out the 43-car field here. They are on the backstretch getting ready to basically start this race. Going to be a fantastic one. Keys to this race: make sure that you don't push too hard at the start of this race. You'll want to, but of course, saving tires is going to be key because you want to make it with a full fuel run, basically. I think if it goes green, you can really make it on a full fuel run and be okay with the tires. Green turns 3 and 4 now. Pace car's lights are off, and just moments away, the pace car dives down pit lane. And we're moments away, as it is green flag in the air here at Texas Motor Speedway. What a fantastic start by the outside line. And I believe Daniel Falkingham is going to beat or just pass basically everybody on the outside, and he'll take the race lead in front of David Comstock. Everybody's still 2 by 2, kind of bunched up, just trying to find places behind Falkingham, as he's already taken a good lead, almost 2 car lengths right off the bat here. As David Comstock will have to basically fight and try and catch Falkingham. But around the pack, we have Brian Macklin in third place, being chased by the 23 car of Josh Parker. And right behind him, Ryan Howard right there. And it's just a big group of cars. You can put a blanket over everybody. Making it through turns 3 and 4. They're going to complete lap number 2 and head on to lap 3. So very good start from these drivers, as of course expected.
And for those of you just tuning in, we're terribly sorry about the issue with the lack of video. iRacing glitch, gotta love it, gotta love it. But we will have it up and running just a moment. Until then, enjoy Jacob Young's amazing radio style commentary.
Thank you for that. And let's get off of pit lane 2 here. They come across the line to complete another fantastic lap. David Comstock back in your race lead now. Daniel Falkingham in second position, so that could be a little bit of just switching around. It seems like those two are the best at the start of their run. It could change for certain, but at this moment, just taking a look at all this field and very bunched up once again, single file now. As I'm looking at Adam Gillen, he sits in 9th position. Tommy Ryan ahead of him, but Adam Gillen being chased by Doy Woods, as Doy Woods looks like he could make a pass here very shortly for that position. Going back up the field, everybody really staying single file as we see a little battle going on here, and I believe the 99 car of Tommy Ryan going to be able to take that position away. Couldn't tell who that was. Apologize about that, but other than that, single file coming through for another lap completed. Good battles going around the field here.
Yeah,
it looks like too wide through turns 2 with the 41 and 13.
Excuse me. Yeah, Daniel Falkingham, the race leader there for the moment, and you see E.J. O'Rourke down on the bottom. He gets his nose in front of that 13 machine of Dwayne Vincent. That is a pass for 24th position. That is across the start-finish line now as they head back into turn 1. Side by side in front of him for the moment, it was Jeff Vogel in the 88. Gets by Bob Gillimorter. That's 21st place locked up. Working on Jason Lance for 20th. As he closes in on Scott Formosa. It is close racing all around, as you mentioned, Jacob Young, as we work to restore our video feed here on the American Sim Network. Side-by-side racing, Thomas Conetti battle for 14th place. Jimmy Coleman across the line into turn 1 and 2. Conetti with the run, and he'll make the pass.
He will here as we'll just taking a look right back. Mike Kelly doing a nice job still ahead of the 99 of Tommy Ryan. And of course, also wanting to look back at this field. Really does seem like they're starting to spread out a little, which is of course key in a race like this. We saw it yesterday with these drivers at Homestead where they kind of were able to spread out a little bit, and it created a long green flag run. So we'll probably see that again. 120 laps, and we are 9 laps into this race so far, so it's very possible that we could see basically half this race done before they pit for the first time.
Yeah, I don't doubt that, as Daniel Falkingham holds on to the race, David Comstock holds on to the race lead. Comstock with a very fast Chevy Camaro, as we're getting even closer to getting our video feedback about, as you said, nearly 10 laps into this race. Now, Comstock has just got an amazingly quick Chevy Camaro. Falkingham right behind him, and back behind them, it is Brian Macklin in the 30. Now, Brian Macklin, he is under fire from the 33 of Ryan Howard. They go down the backstretch. Now, Howard looking to get third place. That 33 is looking pretty fast. What do you think?
Yeah, he's looking really fast indeed. As you mentioned, trying to find his way around the 30 car of Brian Macklin. And of course, Macklin, if I were him, I'd probably just let him by, because as the run continues, your car could really come into play, and there's no need to kind of block. But at that moment, it doesn't really seem like the 33 of Ryan Howard's trying to push too much to try and gain that spot. He just doesn't have that run that he's looking for at the moment to just make that pass complete.
Yeah, that is true, but he is getting ever closer to getting that run. We'll look further back in the field. E.J. O'Rourke now moves up to 22nd place. He gets by the 80 machine. He's still got to get by Pedro Mojica, and again, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. But and then Bob Gilwater, that'll be 20th place if he can get by that 4 machine. But E.J. O'Rourke's looking pretty fast right now.
E.J. O'Rourke is looking really fast indeed, although you mentioned that he has not passed necessarily a car just yet. He's staying in 22nd. That's where he qualified from, and Pedro has had to basically gain
hard into the wall,
close to 9 places.
Jason Lance, the 76, that is the icy machine. He tagged that outside wall very hard coming down into the front straightaway. And that's the thing. That is one part of this racetrack that has not changed in this reconfiguration. That front straightaway can still bite you. It bit you on the old config, and it'll bite you on this new one. Jason Lance falls back to 25th after that.
Yeah, indeed it will. I know 2 spots that will really get you, and you mentioned one of them, and the second one basically is turn 1, the exit of turn 1 as well. It still will get you, if your car gets tight enough, it'll just kind of slide up. I know it's still wider, but sometimes you like to run that line where you can just go outside and let the car kind of do the driving there, and sometimes that will just ruin your day as you'll just hit that corner on the right side and it will really hurt your race from then on.
Yeah, that is very true. It may be a wider section of racetrack, but that does not necessarily mean, as you said, it is easier to navigate. As we watch that 12 machine, Scott Simley, try and get by Dwight Beverly, that's going to be a hard pass to make. And we'll look a little further up in the field. Leaders are still spread out. You see Dory Woods, driver like Chad Coleman back there, 13th. Conetti, Mike Montesi, and Cataloni and Jim Ott racing for position back here. Jim Ott on that high line. Looks like he might actually lose the spot, and he does. So a little bit of a rough situation there. Do you think he'll get that position back?
Almost definitely will. Kind of fast race car indeed, but just, of course, Pedro just seems like he's really dialed it in for this early run as he's going to make another pass and pass Anthony Calantoni. But going back to Jim Ott will have plenty of time to really make things go his way. He's sitting, yes, in the top 20, but still plenty of time to gain back those 4 positions where he started and to get into that top 10. Of course, just needing a caution or just needing some strategy to really work his way.
Yeah, that is for sure. And you can see Adam Gilliland up there, 7th place. Now, you know, former Pro Series driver here. He's got, I wouldn't say more experience, but he's definitely got a lot of experience bringing to the table in this series, and it's got to be benefiting him in some way. Where do you think he winds up tonight? I think we're going to see him probably right around the top 5.
I would have to agree with you, somewhere around the top 5, maybe even the top 3, fighting for a race victory. But of course, at this moment, it seems like David Comstock kind of has this race won in the early stages. Same with Daniel Falkingham, where he's like the only one that can really compete with him. And just because they have been sharing those laps left. And still plenty of time for Adam Gilliland to get up there, but for sure he knows how to save his tires on this simulator or game, however you want to say it. And, well, we've seen it benefit him multiple times. We've seen it also benefit him with, I believe, winning Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere like that, where he really did a good job in this car. So very beneficial to this driver, and most likely a top 5 finish is in the books.
Yeah, he picked off a win at Auto Club earlier this season. And, you know, with the reconfig of Texas, the corners remind me, a little bit more banking, mind you, but the corners remind me in their wideness of Auto Club Raceway.
Yeah.
A little bit more banking, though, as we have just about 100 laps to go.
Exactly,
so
a little
this race,
less.
They're working through it pretty quickly.
Exactly, yeah, a little less than 100 laps to go, 22 laps on the table already. So I just really, you can tell single filing, that's what can happen at racetracks like this, as we mentioned before, but it just brings for some great racing. We've seen it come down to fuel strategy basically too, so that's where that can come into play. We kind of saw that last night too at Homestead.
Dan,
And what will they do with the strategy call of just tires? Will they try to run it until it's empty, or will they maybe, try to just get some tires and not take as much fuel and hope for the best?
well, I think that's a great question. I think it's a question on every driver's mind, especially because here's the thing: no driver. I mean, they've had time to practice, but it's a blank slate coming into this race. You have no prior knowledge to work off of. This is the first time we're racing on this reconfigured Texas Motor Speedway. So these drivers, they might try and run it like old Texas, and I don't think you can. The older Texas, it was abrasive on tires, but it wasn't as bad as, say, Atlanta. And I think that's going to be the issue here, is these drivers, they don't have anything to work off of. So I think we're going to see them play it rather conservatively. And if you ask me, they're going to probably pit earlier than they normally would, probably for tires.
Yeah, exactly. And it's funny because we always have talked about this, and we've seen it on real NASCAR as well, where a track like, let's say, Texas gets repaved, just a track in general gets repaved, then NASCAR has to go meet up with Goodyear, and they have to talk about a tire compound, and then they have to talk about, okay, we need this to be tested. And so they get a couple of drivers there to try and test out the tire at the same racetrack so that they can get a little bit of knowledge. And that's what we see kind of NASCAR having to do this and throw a competition yellow before a stage break or something like that too. So it is very possible that we will see these drivers pit early just to make sure, okay, this is how much I'm running on this tire. I can save a little bit more here or push a little bit more and be okay. So yeah, very important thing to remember, as you pointed out, Matt.
Yeah, because remember, these guys, they do have the benefit of being able to practice, unlike, real NASCAR, where when they repave a track, it's only a select number of drivers that can attend that Goodyear tire test. These guys can load up a testing session whenever they want, but it's not the same as in the race because you're not driving the car. I mean, and sure, you can run all out, but you're not going to be driving the car the same you would, say, as E.J. O'Rourke is right now, trying to get by the 84 car for 16th, and E.J.'s down on the bottom lane. He's driving it different than the 84's driving it, and probably different than how he drove it probably when he practiced maybe a week ago in anticipation for this race. So even then, you have maybe a little bit of knowledge to go with, saying that maybe you practice for 3 hours, and you have a little bit of knowledge to go with there, and you kind of have a general idea. But as we're saying now, you don't know how it's going to be in race pace until you're in the race, and that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. It makes you think that iRacing should get on the ball and just try and update the whole system and let every iRacer, I guess, have an option for AI and all the oval tracks too. That would be pretty interesting and fun to do, because it could really help the drivers, like drivers in Elite, to just really race and get better and figure out what they can do for strategy calls and lines that they can run here. So, but as we get into it, once again, it's just figuring out this racetrack, figuring out where you need to go and all that.
Yeah, right now we're watching battle for around 17th place. This is Chad Cole in that 17 Z-Line Designs pink machine, trying to get to Dwayne Vincent. And we have Brandon Griffith in the chat saying practice with wrong setup. So that might not have been a good thing.
Indeed, it might not have been a great thing as well, practicing with the wrong setup. Now, of course, you can practice with a setup that can make the car extremely tight or something like that, or extremely loose, and then when it comes back to being very tight, it can kind of balance it out to where you know how to drive it and handle it or something like that. So
I saw one driver exiting pit lane. I think that was Not sure who that was. Well, Jeff Rhine's hitting the pits, that number 10 Oreos machine. He's boxing this time. So I'm wondering if 30 laps is around the window or if we're seeing some early pit stops. You see Steven Ritter trying to get to the back end of Pedro there, but Chad Coleman pretty much already to the back end of Steven Ritter. And you think Chad will make that pass. Chad's been fast all season. I really got to point that out. He's been amazing all season, and I think he'll get that pass.
Oh, for sure. Chad Coleman, like you said, been very impressive all season long. And, well, what more is really stopping him from trying to make that pass? But, of course, sometimes at a racetrack like this, you kind of dive it down low or try and run that high line, and it just will not necessarily get the car to stick or get the car to bite, as some people call it, and it can make it very difficult to try and make a pass like that. Now, most likely, what I'm kind of noticing here is as the run's going on, I think the cars are kind of getting a little bit more tight, and it's allowing the drivers to really have to work the wheel to make sure that they can keep it kind of lower than sliding up high.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. You see Chad Coleman gets to the inside of Steven Ritter down the front stretch. There's the pass. And you see how much he had to roll it out of the throttle there, practically let Steve nudge his back bumper. And I think, as you said, cars are probably getting a little bit more tight as they run out of fuel. And run down their tires, of course.
Yeah, exactly. Combination of both, always not the best feeling in the world as a driver, but these cars so much more demanding than, of course, the Cup cars like we've talked about.
Yeah, Tommy Ryan now looking for a pass on Doy Woods. And Doy's stuck on that high lane. He didn't get a good run off. That'll let Ryan get to his side as they go down the backstretch into 3 and 4. And Doy, again, he's going to be on that high line. Not the ideal place to be right now. He'll roll out of the throttle. He'll let Tommy Ryan by. And you saw him roll out of the throttle real early. You saw the backfire coming out of his exhaust.
Yeah, exactly. But look at that pass from the 07 of Doy Woods. He'll get that position right back from Tommy Ryan, able to really use that inside line to his advantage. But look who's coming, get maybe his lap back on that inside line with fresh tires, and that's going to be the Oreo car, the number 10 car to be exact.
Yep, that is none
of Jeff
other.
Ryan.
Yeah, Jeff Ryan. So that is Ryan and Ryan united again, although one of them's a lap down, unfortunately.
Exactly, making an early pit stop, probably pushed the car just a little too hard or tried to maybe make some headway like that with a green flag run, because maybe your strategy also could be push really hard at the start of this race and then, of course, back off with the newer tires that you have after about, well, it was about 30 laps that he pitted. And then we've seen it happen as of last night, where it just worked out perfectly to get maybe a top 5.
Yeah, and right now closing in on 40 laps to go. If they could split this 40 laps and 40, that would be what, 3 stops? Or am I doing that math? Yeah, I'm doing that math wrong. That would probably be what, 2 stops? So this will probably be a 2-stop race, which will be pretty interesting to see.
Very
and you
possible.
can see Ryan Howard gets passed by, who's that, Brian Day. Now, one thing I'm noticing, and I'm sure you're noticing it too, we got a really wide racetrack here. And they widened it a lot when they revamped it. As we see the 00 dive to the inside. He's going to pit road. But they widened this track a lot, right? But here's one thing I'm noticing. Most drivers, and Macklin tags the wall through the grass. Does he save it? Locks it down. He's not going to save it. He's going to destroy the inner pit wall, but no yellow. But as I was saying, so very wide racetrack. But the preferred line, it's not the top line. It is the bottom line of the racetrack, it seems to be.
Yeah, indeed it does, especially into the corners, really. That's where you can get that run. Now, I'm seeing a lot of drivers go up high near the wall on at least the straightaways, But on those corners, they're really just kind of diving it down. As I see 3 drivers going into pit lane, and the 99 car had to lock his brakes up pretty hard to try and slow it down. So he'll have to take at least 4 fresh Goodyear tires for sure and not try a strategy of taking 2.
I'd imagine most drivers here are going to want to take 4 tires anyway, but you made note of it and you were spot on accurate. He got in pretty hard, and most drivers pitting right around lap 40, so this probably will turn into, if it stays green, a 2-stop race. The 07 down pit lane as well. Bob Gillenwater pulling out in a way. Looks like quite a few drivers have either had connection issues or just flat out retired. Jeff Vogel, Scott Formosa, and Cal Tony. You see Mike Kelly around the outside lane, while the higher lane as drivers are exiting pit lane. So I don't know if they got in a wreck that didn't get a caution, or if they just disconnecting to disconnect. But you got a good number of drivers no longer in the race.
Yeah, exactly. I know one of the drivers for sure. I think we were talking about the wreck here moments ago where he just slid into the grass and hit the wall on the pit lane. I believe that was Brian Macklin who wrecked, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, yeah, it looks like they were probably got into a miniature wreck or something, or were hitting the wall a little too much and decided they had had enough for that race. So really does stink, but of course they'll probably be able to come back next week and hopefully have a good finish instead of, well, wrecking out early. Never fun.
And right now, 44 laps into the race, Scott Simley hits the pits, that Jegs machine. And he got in his box pretty well. Adam Gilliland now second. Daniel Falkingham, the race leader. Look at the battle for the lead. They are right next to each other as they're probably getting ready to pit in just a moment or two.
Yeah, exactly. That's going to be interesting. It's kind of the race to get into pit lane. Who's going to come into pit lane first, as that's always a very important kind of battle to do. You don't think it's that important, but really having that advantage to kind of dictate that pace speed going into pit lane and then coming back out of pit lane, most likely you become first place in that sense. So it'll be very interesting, as it does look like they will be staying, well, they're on the back stretch. I thought that was a front stretch for a second, but it's side by side now.
Yeah, side by side for the lead, and Adam Gilliland easily takes it. I was going to say I think Daniel might be pitting, but no, he still wants to fight for that lead. But Adam Gilliland, I think he's got the faster race car. And look at David Comstock just blowing on through with the high power of fresh tires. That's what fresh tires will do to your race car.
Exactly, and David Comstock, the last driver to go into pit lane, is what it looks like, because, well, he sits in 8th place with 1 lap down now. Most likely will be on the lead lap, so it looks like 8 cars will be on the lead lap heading into, well, more cycled pit stops maybe, but both drivers still staying out. Very impressive, but like you said, difference between fresh tires and older tires, and that's a huge difference. And, well, we'll show that David Comstock will probably retake the lead once everybody pits.
Yeah, and right here you see guys just shuffling around for position. A lot of them not on the lead lap. Josh Parker is the first car lap down from that pit cycle so far. And you see he is faster, but he's not too much faster. It's a pretty tight battle between him and Daniel Falkingham. So that's going to be the problem for Josh Parker, is he's going to try to get by him to get his lap back the hard way. And he's going to burn up most of his tires doing so.
Yeah, exactly. But sometimes, of course, like I kind of have talked about, you can push for about a lap or two on tires that are brand new, and then, of course, start to save from then on. Yes, your tires will be just a little bit worn, but it won't be as bad as saying, well, if you were to push for multiple laps after that.
And right here, 51 laps in, 71 laps to go. Gilliland and Falkingham. Falkingham's in. Gilliland is not. He still is not pitted. When do you think he pits?
I would have to guess, well, it's 10 laps after David Comstock, or after those drivers, yes, have actually pitted. So maybe he'll just try and hold it out and wait maybe for a caution. But if I had to guess, he would really need to come in very soon, because now he's stuck kind of on that high line, and we'll see if he'll be able to get on the inside to try and pit, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, if I was Gilliland, I'd be doing everything in my power to come down now, and I think that's what he was trying to do. As you saw how much he checked up for Tommy Ryan, trying to get into that bottom lane behind him, and he was unable to do so. So I'm sure we'll see him pit this time around, and he's probably pitting a lap later than he wanted to be.
Yeah, exactly, but things or plans can actually change if you are a driver in general. You just have to really decide to pit with the early drivers, as he still doesn't look like he'll be able to get in pit lane, and he'll stay on another lap.
And right here, 53 laps in.
Now, he could also be looking for a one-stop now, too, and that could be a strategy call that you try and pull.
Well, he'd have to be able to get to 53 laps to go effectively. Or rather, he's gone 53 laps. He has to go 68 when we go back, or when he's done with his pit stop, if he pits this lap. So, I don't know. It'll be hard. It'll be very hard. I don't think anyone can do this on a one-stop strategy. I really don't, but I mean, I don't know what else he's trying to do. Him and E.J. O'Rourke, the only two drivers get to pit. What do you think his game is? Gilliland's, that is.
Gilliland's, I guess by now, it's just waiting for a caution, because I don't think there's anything else that he can really do. If, in fact, like you said, he can't really make it on one stop, then kind of hoping for a caution on the first stint so that he can get even with everybody, as it actually looks like he might be coming down now. Where he checked up a lot in that corner. It could be just the tires really going away.
Yeah, you see Daniel Falkingham, who pitted maybe about 5 laps ago, getting past him now, and he has got a much faster race car. And I say Falkingham's just in a much better position to be racing right now, no doubt about it. Because when Gilliland pits, which I imagine is going to be this lap, he looks like he was slowing down there as they go down the back stretch. But at any rate, when Gilliland pits, he's going to lose a lot of speed, you know?
Indeed. Yeah, he will lose a lot of speed, will lose a lot of time, and maybe even positions that he gained in the last stint, where it was basically the pit window opening up. Kind of the pit window has closed, and now he's just waiting around and hoping for the best. He did have almost half the field lapped, but now, of course, it's all the way down to 17th position, as in those are the drivers who are one lap down and just haven't been able to catch up to the race leader.
Yeah, most of the field has unlapped itself. You leave 16... excuse me, 16 drivers still on the lead lap, 17th on back, a lap down, and 30 drivers only a lap down. 31st on back is 2 or more, but I'm not too surprised by that. That seems to be par for the course. E.J. O'Rourke and Adam Gilliland, the only 2 drivers still yet to pit. David Comstock is in second. He has made his pit stop. So, and he's 12 seconds back of your leader. I still don't know exactly what game Gilliland's playing at here, but I got a feeling that it's not going to end too well.
Same here, considering the lead that he had a couple of laps ago was double the 12 seconds, basically 20 plus second lead has been cut down to now 11.6 seconds. And E.J. O'Rourke talking about his moving up to basically third position in that field. Very impressive from him. He also, of course, took his pit stop too. So just, yeah, very confusing from Adam Gilliland. But looking at the rest of this field, it's going to be an interesting battle when everybody decides to pit.
Yeah, that is for sure. And right now, 61 laps in, E.J. O'Rourke, I'm surprised they have been able to go about 60 laps on fuel. That is the impressive thing right there.
Very impressive. And now Adam Gilliland down pit lane.
Yep, and he locked it up. I don't know if you saw that pit entry, but he got a little bit squirrely going into pit lane. E.J. O'Rourke, I think, is going to follow him in. Yes, he does. So Gilliland had an issue. Do you think that's going to hurt him?
Very possible that it will hurt him. He'll probably fall all the way down to maybe 10th position if lucky. He'll probably be close to Justin Fuller, maybe even Josh Parker. So it definitely did hurt him in the sense. We'll see exactly where he comes out after he goes back around to the start-finish straight. But yeah, very interesting call. I think he was trying to make it to lap 68 like you said, but I don't think he could have.
And right here, 62 laps in. It might turn into a one-stop race for them with 59 laps to go, because they went, 60 laps? I mean, you look at the exact lap Gilliland pitted on lap 60, so if he can go another 60 laps, he will probably win this race just by virtue of being able to stay out longer. Now, that is, of course, not contingent on a caution.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess anything is up on the table for him. He could have just had that winning strategy, and we just don't know about it yet. We'll have to wait and see on what happens. He will have to get his lap back, though, from the one and only David Comstock. He's right beside him. Fresher set of tires, and David Comstock will say, go ahead and try and burn off your stuff, and hopefully you will.
Yeah, and right there, you can see Brian Day trying to close up to David Comstock. Now, that is almost a 10-second gap between those drivers. Do you think without a caution he has any realistic chance at it? I hate to say no.
I'd probably have to agree with you, but at that same time, crazier things have happened where we have seen basically leads like this kind of evaporate. When we talk about the real race at Homestead today, yes, that's a totally different track than Texas, but it's that same point as Denny Hamlin was able to go around traffic without really a caution in that last 13 or so laps. So it could be possible. We'll just have to wait and see if he's not getting stuck behind traffic.
Yeah, that is true right there. And look at Ryan Howard all over the back of Brian Day for second place. I think he might have a chance for the pass here. What do you think?
Yeah, very good chance at a pass, but of course they'll have to watch out for none other than Daniel Falkingham, who could have an opportunity to really take that third place away, and even that second place, as he will dive it down on the inside, and it looks like he'll be clear.
Yep, and look who's followed him, Ryan Howard. Looks like the 47, he got shuffled to that high line. That high line still hasn't come into play yet. It's not the spot where you want to be right now. And you can see that. And you can see David Comstock running away with it, leading 44 laps. You got Gregory Brandenburg getting ready to be put a lap down. Scott Simley will be going a lap down. He'll be 17th place right now. And you can see there is the pass. So 16 drivers, and that won't last for long because as soon as he puts the 12 down, he's already setting up in a few minutes maybe for the 31. He's about, what, half a straightaway away?
Yeah, something like that indeed. As, well, I mean, just knocking drivers off the lead lap after lap, basically. And this is kind of what we expected to see, especially since they got strung out. If there were early cautions, it might have played into a different race, basically. We could still see some cautions here later on in this one, but at the moment, the drivers are just strung out perfectly to where a little bit of battling might not hurt the whole field.
And right now, 71 laps in. Justin Fuller trying to gain to the back end of Pedro Tommy Ryan. And that's not a big gap to close. We saw Fuller last night. It was a very fast race car. Granted, totally different racetrack, but still, fast driver, knows his way around different places. I guarantee you top 5 finish tonight out of that 51 team.
Definitely. Justin Fuller has been very strong all season long, especially with the races that he has been able to run. But of course, look at that top 5 all the way to the top 10. Just Pedro Mojica right in front of him, Tommy Ryan, Brian Day, Ryan Howard, and Daniel Falkenham, and David Comstock. A very powerful top 5. So a lot of drivers that he would have to get by just a couple of spots to really be able to say that he got a top 5. But those couple of spots, those drivers are very fierce.
Yeah, that is for sure. And right now, with 48 laps to go, what is your prediction on pit stops? Do you see any driver potentially trying to make a one-stopper?
Indeed, I think I do see exactly that happening. It's exactly the move that I believe Adam Gillen tried to pull for sure. That could be a very interesting strategy call from that driver. He might still need a caution flag to make it work, but that's one driver for sure trying to make a one-stop. The rest of them, I think, and also EJ O'Rourke, the rest of them I really do think they would have to try and, they'll have to go down pit lane at least one more time just to get some fresh tires to really show that they have something to not only gain, but can really make a push for this race win. 74 laps in, and I expect just a lot more racing and some drivers going down pit lane.
And right now you have Brian Day making that pass for 3rd place. And you notice Ryan Howard, he doesn't want to give that spot up because you see Ryan, he's all over the back end of Day's back bumper, looks to the inside. Ryan Howard's got a fast race car here tonight. You think he has a chance to win this race?
Ryan Howard, I don't necessarily see him winning this race, but I would definitely see him getting a top 10 to top 5 finish. Just David Comstock has been on another, just a totally different postcode. Basically, he's racing to Bristol or Martinsville for the next race. That's what I would say how he's kind of been racing. He's just out front and has really been dominating this whole race. But other than that, I see him probably finishing in the top 5 or top 10.
Yeah, O'Rourke looking pretty fast as well, and you'll notice that Trans Service car looking, unfortunately not for position because EJ is a lap down, I believe, and he's 20th place, but you look how much faster he is. He'll split the gap up the middle. He don't care that he's a lap down, but I tell you, he's got a fast race car. That is for sure. So where do you think EJ stands to finish with 43 laps to go? Remember, he's on a similar one-stop strategy to Adam Gilliland.
Yeah, exactly. Very possible that he finishes either right behind or even in front of Adam Gilliland. So very possible that it's also going to be around a top 10 finish. But of course, let's remember the way that Adam Gilliland was losing time at the end of that run. He lost so much time, especially with EJ O'Rourke, that it was a big gap, really, that he had. And then, of course, it kind of closed down. So very possible that he could even slide outside the top 10 by the end of this race due to, of course, just a tire degradation.
Yeah, and right now, 78 laps in, or 80 laps in now, and I saw one driver, that's the 09, Bill Schoonover. He got a little bit loose there, and you look how much speed he lost. I mean, it looks like he's thrown out the anchor as he falls back. Right there, and you can see he's continuing to fall back.
I mean, and it really stinks to see that, but sometimes, of course, you just push your car a little too hard at the start of a run or something like that. With 80 laps into this race, of course, on a 120-lap race, yeah, he's probably looking at a two-stop race, but I'd still say that even for a two-stop race, you would want kind of a shootout with 20 to go. So I'd say that's when you'll start to see those cars for their second pit stop go down and pit. So a little too early to start to see some degradation like that.
Yeah, and right there, it looks like Tommy Rahn trying to get by Bill Schoonover, and he does. Saw a lot of drivers hit the pit in mass that last lap. It was like the whole group of them decided that is when they wanted to pit, and that is when they did. Pedro leads them off. Ryan Howard, Brian Day, Mark Cretin is still out on the racetrack. Richard Beasley, David Comstock currently runs 8th. Guess who your race leader is?
Daniel Falkenham.
Well, not quite. It'll update the line for you. I've got the live timing. It is Adam Gilliland.
Adam Gilliland, very impressive from him, although he's still going in 4th position. But yes, indeed, or 3rd position, excuse me. So very impressive for Adam Gilliland to be right back up there. And already, I guess, we're seeing drivers starting to take a pit stop. But like I said, I would suggest maybe a little bit more, at least 90 laps into this one, so that they have 30 laps on their tires and they can actually push, because these tires can go up to at least 50.
Yeah, that is for sure. And we saw these fuel loads run to 60. So these drivers, they're not a lot of race left. I mean, if Gilliland wants to run till the end on his run, on his fuel, on his tires, he's got to commit to it. And do you think he's daring enough?
I think he can be daring enough just to gain enough that he would be able to, I guess, push for sure. Because, yes, he wants to save as much as possible so that he can make it to the end. But at that same time, he still have to have those same speeds as a leader. So I would think that he would be daring enough. He's already made the crazy, not the crazy strategy call.
Yeah, we'll see if it can play out right, if he's daring enough to do it, and I think he is. I think he's locked on to that strategy. He's not pitted, and only 3 drivers as well, Falkingham and Fuller, are yet to pit. And I think Justin Fuller's got a good chance at winning here tonight, potentially. What say you?
Yeah, he's got an opportunity to win here tonight as well, kind of coming out of the blue. He did start third place, but he hasn't really been in that top 5, top 3 for a while. He really just started to come back into that top 3, and now, yes, he still technically kind of has to pit, but he's had the pace all race long. He just hasn't really tried to push as much until now.
Yeah, Fuller hits the box. Daniel Falkingham still staying out. I don't see Falkingham going to that single tire. Well, not single tire. I don't know why I said single tire. But single stop strategy. I don't know why. I don't see that being a possibility. And yeah, he pits. And did Adam Gilliland pit? I think he might have. And yes, he did. Adam Gilliland. I don't know why Adam Gilliland pitted. I don't think that's a good idea. I feel like Gilliland had a winning strategy. I don't see why he would have pitted there.
Exactly. I think he just wanted to kind of match their strategy, I guess. I don't know. He was talking to some drivers on the radio as well. I don't know what they said because I have the engines and stuff muted because it is very loud and sometimes it's tough to hear my play-by-play announcer, which would be Mac. So, it's a strange strategy call for sure if he decided to pit there and now probably just going to maybe get a top 5 if lucky.
But it's very weird too because we saw earlier in the night, we saw him go 60 laps. I mean, again, I can pull it up. He went exactly 60 laps on that fuel run. And it was under 60 laps to go when he pitted, when he made his first pit stop. So with under 60 to go, and he went 60 laps on his fuel run, again, excuse me for the coughing, I don't see why that he decides I'm going to pit now with 40 laps to go when most likely he could have made it unless there's something that would have ensured that he can't make it. But it just seems like not the best strategy in the world. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're right on that. Now, it could be a situation where he might not have even gotten fuel or tires, and he could have just gotten fuel. Maybe he underfueled the race car for his second stint, which would be a little weird, but sometimes you want the car to rotate a little bit more. That's a little trick. Underfuel the race car by a little bit to help it to help the back basically rotate, because sometimes those cars, especially on a later run, can get tired.
And that is Jeff Ryan. Adam Gilliland's out of the race. He's retired the car. I don't know what happened to Jeff Ryan, though. He tags the outside wall. Did he cut a tire down? No, it looks like he just got tight and that car wouldn't rotate for him. But Adam Gilliland looks like he elected to retire the car. And I'm trying to go back here and see exactly where he retired it.
Yeah, I think he retired it in pit lane, but
yeah, we'll watch him pit. Oh, he got wrecked on pit lane. What was that? Josh Parker, I think. In that Monster Energy number 23 car. Yeah, that's Josh Parker. This is many laps ago. Adam Gilliland made his pit stop. And we'll watch that lap leading up to it. You see, Gilliland was around Tommy Ryan. He rolls out of the throttle, lets these guys pass him. And he tagged the... That's why he pitted. That's why he pitted, Jacob. He tagged the wall. And he got the wall hard on his right side. So he might have had wheel damage. Or maybe not damage, but knew that he would have needed tires. So he comes down pit lane. Almost wrecks it coming in. Has to lock it up. And then still Josh Parker gets into his back bumper and does them both in. So a crazy situation unfolding with a handful of laps to go here in the race. What do you think of that?
Well, I mean, it opens up the door for a lot to happen, basically. David Comstock back in this race lead for about 12 seconds, but look who's in second place right there. So it
Yep.
just, I mean, basically changes everything.
You know, I wanted to say, Pedro there, he has been having probably one of the best runs of his night, runs of his season, which I think started last night. But at any rate, you know, he started 30th tonight and is running second. Low position of 24th throughout the course of the race. But, I mean, think about that. 30th to second is nothing short of incredible. And with about 20 laps to go, he has a good chance to potentially win this thing tonight. What do you think?
Oh, definitely has a sure opportunity to do exactly that. Also cutting down the race lead, even though it's by a couple of tenths. That's still very impressive for Pedro. Now, of course, David Comstock has led most of this race tonight, but anything can still happen. We could still see a late race caution that could shock basically this whole race and kind of ruin David Comstock's strategy of kind of getting away as fast as he's been able to. So lots of things still are possible, but Pedro has an opportunity to really get this race win from 30th position starting on the grid. I saw him not take a lap. If he did, it was not necessarily a great one. So if I do recall correctly, he did not take a lap in qualifying. So very impressive for him to already get all the way up to second position.
He's making his way up through the field, up to the lead potentially. He's got a long way to go. 12 seconds is the gap David Comstock has on everyone else. I mean, that's incredible. Can you believe that?
Yeah, it is just absolutely, yeah, it's insane. Once he took that race lead the one time, just has been able to take off, and he gained back those 2 tenths from Pedro. So just really gaining time when he needs to, and he doesn't even need to gain time right now, but still wanting that race victory, and that's how impressive he's also been throughout this season in the, well, FEG Grand National Series.
Yeah, without a doubt, and 19 at the stripe. There is not a lot of racing left, and we have gone, and I don't want to jinx it, but so far we have gone almost flag to flag. So, do you think that's a possibility here tonight as well?
Very possible, but I think since you just said it, it will be changed.
I've jinxed it.
Oh, wait, I see a car. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm about to say, don't even say that. That would be... that would be some luck right there. But yeah, look at Steven Ritter going for a pass. That is with a lap down car, of course, but still. 11 drivers. E.J. O'Rourke is the last of them to remain on the lead lap. And not a lot. I mean, E.J.'s going to lose that lead lap pretty soon. But, I mean, you know, it has been an incredible night. What do you think?
Absolutely a phenomenal night of racing indeed. Talk about it. Since we've basically almost gone flag to flag, at least we've stayed green for all this race. Why I bring that up is because, well, you can see on the racing surface, the racing line, it's starting to get really dark in certain parts of turns 1 and 2 and turns 3 and 4, where you can really start to see where the rubber is starting to form. So that high line, basically, you can say goodbye to that because it's not worth it to even try and run up there, considering how grippy it would be down below the bottom, or by the bottom, I should say.
Yeah, and right now, 16 laps to go. Look at the gap between Justin Fuller and Tommy Ryan. As Tommy Ryan gets by the 03, I think that's Clint Cox. And you see that is still a pretty massive gap again. Maybe about the entire length of one of those dog legs. As Tommy Ryan, though, he looks like he might be closing it in. What do you think?
Tommy Ryan, yeah, it does indeed look like he's closing it in. Only 7/10 at least behind none other than Justin Fuller. So just taking a look at that battle, yeah, it doesn't look as close as it is, but talk about it, it might be because Justin Fuller's trying to save something, but Tommy Ryan has been able to make those passes and close in on drivers like that throughout tonight.
And right now, just a handful of laps remaining. And 14 laps to go for David Comstock, leading the show here. And I tell you what, I think short of a caution, Comstock has got this thing just wrapped up. I mean, he's got a lead of 12 seconds. That's incredible here.
100% agree with you on how impressive it has been. Now, Daniel Falkenham taking over second position over Pedro. So now just Falkenham will try his hardest to close in on David Comstock, but everybody's probably hoping for a caution, especially those lap cars, but for sure those race leaders to try and get anything, basically just to try and have an opportunity at taking this lead away from David Comstock. We've seen it happen before, but will we see it tonight? It doesn't look like it.
Yeah, and right now looks like the 54 car of, I'm actually not sure who, that is Milt Mattis. Matisse got put 4 laps down now. That is, man, you want to talk about a bad night? Being 4 laps down, that is an unfortunate situation to be in for him.
Exactly, or of course, wrecked out in the early runs. We got one driver, I believe he didn't even take the grid, Steve Herring, because he's minus 82 laps down. So yes, he actually indeed took the grid, but like I said, 82 laps down, 83 laps down, not the best place where you'd want to be as well. So it could be worse than just 2 or 4.
Yeah, and right now, Daniel Falkingham trying to do what he can, but, I mean, here's the thing. No matter what he can do, it's not going to be enough. I mean, unless there's a caution, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Unless there's a caution, really, there's nothing that these drivers can really do besides just play out their strategy and hope that they've saved enough to really make a run in the end, to try and make a run at maybe the top 5 or the top 10 if they're just outside of it. Now, of course, it'll be very difficult as only 10 drivers on the lead lap at the moment.
Yeah, right now 9 laps to go, and as you said, 10 drivers on the lead lap. Steven Ritter, last driver up there. And that is going to be the problem for Steven Ritter, because he is going to lose that lap very soon as we ride in car with David Comstock. And you can see Ritter, I believe that's Steve, just ahead of him. And yes, it is. Or that might be Jason Lance, actually, and then Steve ahead of that. But either way, closing in. I mean, what do you think's going through Comstock's mind right now with a near-perfect race?
Well, I think really nothing. He's just trying to focus and continue to do exactly that. He knows he's got a comfortable lead, as probably checking his relative maybe once every 5 laps or so just to make sure. But as long as he keeps running his race, making sure that he's also saving his tires, he really wouldn't have a worry in the world, just trying to fend off those lap cars, passing them, making sure that he can get by cleanly. That's really all that he can do at the moment, just to make sure that he keeps that lead.
And right here, 6 laps to go. We'll ride in car with Comstock for a lap or 2 more You know, what do you think of his form? He's got a pretty great line going. And he's very One thing you notice, he's very easy on that steering wheel. Watch the way he works it. He's not jerking it around. He's very meticulous about the way he puts it in and, you know, takes it through the corner.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what you have to be with these cars. Have to be easy with it. Make sure that you're not losing it, because as well as it can be getting a little tight, you can also start to get a little loose as well. Kind of that mixture between tight and loose off of the exit. Tight and basically on entrance is what I'm trying to say. So you have to be as cautious and make sure that, well, you're not pulling a Dale Jr. as in one-handing it through the corner, trying to just drive with one hand. If you've seen any on-board action from the race day, that's what he was doing. So you just have to keep two hands on the wheel and make sure that you are controlling this race car almost perfectly.
Yeah, and right now, 3 laps to go at the stripe. Do you think Steven Ritter stays on the lead lap? You can see him exiting onto the front stretch ahead of Comstock.
I think he can. He might have to play the blocking game just a little bit, but, I mean, talk about it. David Comstock so closing in on cars, even after that first pit stop. It shows you how long if you control your race car correctly, like I said before, as in just not use up your stuff too much, you can still have something to give for the end of a race. And yeah, it's going to be close. I think he can do it. He's just got to make sure to stay calm, cool, and collected.
Yeah, that is for sure. That'll be the key to that equation. 2 more times around. At the right here. And with 2 laps to go, it will be the final lap this time by. With, 9 drivers, or 10 drivers on the lead lap, and David Comstock. I don't know why I keep wanting to call him Daniel Falkingham. That is definitely not Falkingham, but Comstock looking to go to victory lane. It has been a shaky start to the season in the Cup Series, but I tell you what, he's had a brilliant run in this Xfinity Series, Grand National Series, and he'll go to victory lane in the FEG Grand National Series at Texas Motor Speedway. Falkingham second, Pedro third, fourth Ryan Howard. We also went, by the way, Jacob, I didn't jinx it, we did go flag to flag.
We did indeed. How about that? So impressive from this field to go from green flag all the way to checkered without, of course, a caution. Absolutely impressive from this group, and well, congratulations to the 42 car of David Comstock. And now right at the end of the race, did you notice how close it was between Joey Woods and him as well, considering that he was about to get lapped?
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt you there either, but get a replay of that. Look at Beverly giving Comstock a little bit of a, what I hope is a congratulatory nudge.
Oh, I think it was definitely a congratulatory nudge because, like we said, he almost drove a perfect race, almost leading flag to flag as well. Of course,
he led 90 laps.
Just lose it out on a couple of, not caution, but on pit stop laps, I think is where it came into play. And of course, that long run by
Gilliland,
Adam
where
Gilliland
went 60 laps on his fuel.
Yeah, exactly.
No limits, Texas Motor Speedway. No limits on the amount of action. We again, flag to flag coverage, flag to flag, no cautions. Comstock channeling his inner Denny Hamlin as he tries to burn it down here at Texas Motor Speedway. We'll get Comstock up here. I'll let you get the word in with David there. Take it away.
David Comstock, how are you doing?
Hey, good.
Man, we're doing fantastic as well. You won this race, and y'all put on one amazing show, flag to flag, 120 laps, no cautions. How are you all able to pull that off?
Oh, it's the really good league we have here at Sim500. All the drivers just, showing their talents and their ability to be able to go flag to flag like we did. So really, just hats off to everybody being able to do that. So glad we could do that and put on a good show for everybody watching.
Yeah, very impressive indeed. I guess how's the car handling through those long runs? I know y'all had to have just basically had to control the race car as well as possible.
Yeah, I went through a couple cycles where you of course your new tires a little bit on the building temperature. It's kind of all over the place. Front doesn't turn too much. Through 1 and 2 with it being flat, and then real skatey through 3 and 4 with all the banking and all the load that the speed you're able to carry through there. So pretty much almost wide open. If you wanted on a qualifying lap, you could get wide open on it, but and then it would start to tighten up. And then as depending on how you took care of the tires, it would just progressively get worse and worse as far as getting tighter on the front end. It really pushed through 1 and 2 just because you don't have as much banking to lean on. But for me, it started on the last maybe 10, 15 laps of the fuel cycles of what I was doing, 40 lap runs. It would kind of swing back into more of a freer way where I would kind of just have almost like a power slide off the corner, especially off turn 2 if I can get it hooked up right.
Nice. And of course, waiting here, putting your season into good perspective, especially for this season, especially in the Xfinity series. But what can you kind of take away for, of course, next week when you head there in the Cup cars?
It's kind of difficult to take a lot of things away. As far as the lines we're gonna run is pretty much gonna be the same. You're just gonna be sending it harder into the corner because you have a lot more aero and downforce to be able to carry speed in harder. And through your center speed is going to be a lot higher. So it's not like how it used to be, like 10, 15 years ago, where you can go and play on Saturday and learn for Sunday and all that stuff. As far as the series goes, or in our case, play on Sunday and figure out for Monday. But these cars are so different. It's hard to take a lot of things other than just your racing line. What you're going to run is pretty much going to be the same. Just be, I said, just hauling more, going in the corners.
All right. Well, anybody that you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank everybody at Team Name, everybody, all their support and help every single week. It's a lot of fun racing with those guys. And Sim500, the admins for putting on our leagues, and Ford Entertainment Group for sponsoring our series here on Sunday nights. And you guys are broadcasting and sponsoring the car, racingbiz.com. If you go to Facebook, check them out. Search up racingbiz.com. We got live auctions that run on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and mini auctions that run all throughout the week. So check them out on Facebook as well as online at racingbiz.com. They got really cool racing memorabilia, merchandise, authentic autograph things on there. So if you're a big racing fan or a sports fan, I want to get some like jerseys, some die-cast trading cards. I get all kinds of really cool stuff there. Monster Energy, Jada Layer, Jada Graphics for painting my cars. Everybody out there watching, appreciate you guys. Thank you.
All right. Well, congratulations on this race victory. Have fun celebrating. Hopefully we get to talk to you again next week.
Appreciate it.
All right. Next up on the interview block, it is Daniel Falkingham, who comes up short in second place, but still fantastic run. How's it feel?
Yeah, I mean, it feels good, but I will say David definitely did the Texas two-step on all of us tonight. I mean, I tried to go on a different strategy, tried to just go longer, especially on that first run, and I think that's what kind of lost me a lot of time, because I thought I'd be able to run it back down, but, I mean, he was starting to pull away from me before the first pit stop, so he already had a big enough gap before he pitted. But so I decided to go on something completely different, and it didn't work. But we still managed to drive back up to second, so we'll definitely take it. And pretty impressive, we were able to go green all 120 laps, considering with where you're using the new Texas tonight, we had a full field, so that's pretty impressive in my opinion.
All right, now how did that car handle for you here tonight? New Texas, new kind of racing.
Um, it definitely was one groove, like especially in 1 and 2, where you had to try to just put a red on the white line. So that was so especially if you were battling on the outside of somebody, you pretty much had to essentially go up the spot because you really don't have a lot of banking to lean on anyway. Because they took a lot of banking out of the turns in 1 and 2, so it was really, I mean, it was loose to start out on cold tires. I almost spun out on my outlap on my final pit stop, so it was loose to start out on cold tires, but then once the tires got hot, it depends on how you ran. Like if you ran the right front off, it got really tight, but even if you try to go easy, it was just still tight overall. So it was definitely, you definitely really had to take care of that right front. And David clearly did the best on that tonight, so he definitely deserved the win. But yeah, it was kind of tough to deal with, but it's amazing how different the car handles on both ends of the racetrack. 1 and 2, you're just going so slow, trying to keep it on the white line. Then 3 and 4, you're nearly wide open. So it's just crazy how different the car handles on both ends of the racetrack. But yeah, it was tight overall, but I mean, it wasn't that bad to drive, to be honest. It's just the track is just more painful to drive, just the way it's, they changed it. But I mean, car was decent overall.
All right, excuse me. Anyone you want to thank, sponsors, that kind of thing?
Yeah, I just got to thank First Rate Baylocks 207 for all their support. Also got to thank Rage Cajun and John Munchkin for painting this car for me. Also got to thank everyone here at Sim500 who puts on the races each and every week and every day, all 7 nights a week. Also got to thank you guys for putting on the broadcast. Also got to thank all the guys at Team Name Team, whatever you want to call it. And also got to thank you guys put on the broadcast, and thanks to all the fans who watched us tonight.
All right, well, have a great night, man. Great job on the second place finish.
Appreciate it.
Last up on the interview block, Jacob Young with third place finisher, Pedro, and I'm sorry, I still can't get your last name.
It's Mojica.
Well, either way, Pedro, how you doing?
Good, man. It's good to see you guys again.
It's pretty great to see you as well. 2 great finishes and 2 straight nights. Of course, not the win, but overall, how was your experience, I guess, at New Texas?
It was pretty good overall. Setup was really tight, so you really had to manage the right front a lot. And starting in the back like I was, I took that time to really just work on not wearing the right front out. And that really paid off there on before the first round of pit stops. I was able to get pretty much to about the top 10, and then just kept using that philosophy through the race. Didn't really care about knocking off fast laps at the beginning. Just was focusing on being smooth and easy on the throttle. Just trying to manage the right front, and was able to at least get to third. But yeah, with David and Daniel, they were starting up front. That definitely paid dividends for them to pull a gap on me. That made it hard for me to catch up. But to come from 30th to third, this track's pretty difficult with the new layout. I'll take it.
Awesome, and of course, yeah. I know you won't be able to learn a lot from this car into, of course, next week riding with the Cup cars here, but just will you be able to kind of take something from tonight? And well, with that, of course, I guess let me just rephrase this question: will there be any momentum for next week since you're coming back to Texas for at least the Cup cars?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, the cars drive a little different, but I think you could use the same philosophy for the car. I have a feeling that you'll have to manage your right front for that race as well later this week. So, but yeah, just you keep doing laps on these tracks that we go, for each of the series. We got the same track, and the more laps you do, the better you get. So, I feel like this race you could take a lot of things from it and move forward with it.
All right. Well, anybody that you like to thank, sponsors, that sort of thing?
Appreciate you guys as always for doing this. Appreciate Sim500 crew for letting me race. It's kind of last minute. They let me get in, so I appreciate them for letting me race with this great group of guys. And then just everybody that's a part of the name team: Chad, David, EJ Beasley. There's Daniel. There's a bunch of good drivers there. A lot of great racing between us and also Doy. Can't forget him. So just lots of great racing there, that group, and yeah, ready for the next one, guys. Thanks.
All right. Well, congratulations on third place. Look forward to maybe talking to you next week as well.
Look forward to it.
All right, folks, and from all of us at the American Sim Network, we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. We'll see you all in the next one, and as always, enjoy the apocalypse.